The plat map shows the property line ends here. You can't just block the sidewalk.
The fence is permitted. If you don't like it, you can take it up with the board.
The morning it happened, I stepped out with my coffee, felt the cold air bite my face, and walked straight into a metal fence where my sidewalk used to be. I just stood there, blinking at it. The smell of wet asphalt from yesterday's road work still hung in the air. My normal path to the mailbox was now blocked by a tall, silver fence with zip ties and bright yellow no trespassing signs. 15 feet of the public sidewalk, swallowed whole. And there, on the other side, stood Karen in her pink robe at 2 a.m., arms crossed like a prison guard. She sipped from a giant mug and smirked. "You're not allowed to walk here anymore," she said. HOA voted. I laughed at first, because who fences off a sidewalk? But the sick feeling in my gut told me she was serious. Later that day, I found out the vote was a lie. The board group chat was silent. No emails, no notices, nothing. This was personal. This was about the time I voted against her stupid gazebo lights last December. In my head I heard the title of the story I was suddenly stuck in. Karen fenced off 15 feet of the sidewalk walkway, then I filed the plat map. That was the line. This was the fight. I tried to keep it calm. I knocked on her door around 9:00 p.m., streetlights buzzing. I said, "Hey, this is a public sidewalk, right? We should talk." She stepped out with her phone already recording and yelled that I was harassing her. Curtains twitched all down the block, but every neighbor stayed hidden like we were in some low-budget horror movie. Next day I went to the HOA meeting in the clubhouse. Smell of burnt coffee, stale cookies on a paper plate. I laid out the photos of the blocked sidewalk. The president wouldn't even look up. Karen sat in the front row with a printed stack of noise complaints about my kids playing basketball. She spoke first, of course. She said the sidewalk was dangerous and that she was protecting the community. When it was my turn, the treasurer pretended his mic was broken. Nobody wanted to cross her. On my drive home, my hand shook on the wheel. That was my line in the sand. She wanted a war, but I promised myself it would be with paper, not fists. Blocking a public sidewalk is illegal in our city. Fine. I would prove it. So I got to work. I started with my own house file. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. I wrote it all out. Timeline item 1 April 5th at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call. That was the night she called the cops because my brother parked in front of her house for 10 minutes. There were 7 complaints from her in 6 months. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. I needed proof. I went down to the county building on May 3, 2024. The lobby smelled like old paper and lemon cleaner. I asked for the subdivision plat map and all sidewalk easement records. The clerk typed "side," then went into the back. When she came back, she dropped a huge folder on the counter. The file landed with 63 pages. I flipped through until I saw it, a thick black line for the sidewalk, an easement box, and a note that said public right-of-way, 16 feet from curb. The revenge itself was simple. I scanned the plat map, highlighted the easement, and attached photos of the fence choking the sidewalk. I wrote a calm, boring email to the city code office, the HOA board, and, very politely, to Karen. In the subject line I put, possible sidewalk obstruction at 412 Oakview. No drama. Just facts, dates, and copies. A week later, on a bright Saturday, the white city truck pulled up right as the HOA was doing a community cleanup that Karen planned. Everyone was outside, rakes and trash bags in hand. Kids rode bikes in the street because, well, the sidewalk was blocked. The inspector stepped out with a clipboard. He walked the fence line, measuring tape clicking out. Neighbors pulled out their phones like it was a live show. The inspector's voice was nice and loud. "This fence is on public right-of-way," he said. "It has to be removed." Karen tried to argue. She waved her stack of fake complaints and said I was dangerous, that people like me didn't deserve the sidewalk. The inspector didn't care. He held up the plat map I had sent. "This shows 16 feet from the curb, ma'am. Your fence cuts across it." Behind him, I saw the HOA president's face go pale. Someone whispered wow and another neighbor actually laughed. Karen screeched that she had permission, so the inspector turned to the president and asked for the written approval. There wasn't any. The board had to admit, in front of everyone, that they never voted on it. A few neighbors clapped. One kid shouted, "Karen lost," and his mom tried not to laugh. Later that day, a clip of her arguing was already on the neighborhood Facebook page. On Monday, the real hit landed. The city sent an official notice: remove the fence in 10 days or face fines of $500 per day. The HOA board got a copy, and so did I. At that night's emergency meeting, they removed Karen's safety chair and announced new rules about any changes near sidewalks. The best part? They read my email into the record, plat map and all. She glared at me the whole time, but she couldn't do anything. By the next weekend, the fence was gone. The cool air felt different when I walked the sidewalk again, like the street could breathe. Kids zipped by on scooters. My neighbor Mrs. Lee handed me a plate of cookies and said softly, "Thank you for fighting this the right way." Karen still lives here, but she walks a lot quieter now, and nobody jumps when she starts talking about rules. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.